Hey everyone. Today we're diving deep into a topic that affects all of us, but few of us discuss with the seriousness it deserves. And the truth is, everything you thought you knew about how you should be treated is completely wrong. Seriously, this video is going to open your eyes to the small things you've been tolerating without realizing just how much they're hurting you. So stick around, because what I'm about to share could change your life forever. Imagine the situation: you're in a meeting at work or hanging out with friends, and someone makes a comment that really bothers you. Your first instinct is to stay silent because, well, you don't want to make a scene, right? But here's the reality. Every time you stay silent in the face of disrespect, you're opening the door for it to happen again and again. 1. Disrespect, the first step to losing yourself. Let's start with one of the most fundamental, yet most overlooked issues: disrespect. Tolerating disrespect is the first step to losing yourself. And no, I'm not exaggerating. I know the word respect sounds like something we all understand, but the reality is that many of us have normalized being treated in ways that are far below what we deserve. Maybe you think, well, that's just life, you have to deal with it, or it's my boss. I don't have a choice. But you know what? There is no situation where you should have to endure being treated with disrespect, period. Seneca, one of the great Stoic philosophers, left us with a vital lesson. We didn't come into this world to endure the aggressions of others, no matter how subtle they may be. And don't get it twisted, disrespect can be so subtle that you don't even recognize it at first. But your body does. That discomfort you feel, that knot in your stomach, those are signs that something is wrong. Your body is telling you this isn't right, set some boundaries. So how can you set boundaries when you feel like someone is crossing that line? First, you have to recognize that you deserve respect in all your interactions, no matter who you're dealing with. It doesn't matter if it's your boss, your partner, your best friend, or even a family member. Respect is non-negotiable. But let's be real, it's not always easy. Sometimes the line between what's acceptable and what's not becomes blurred. Maybe someone makes a comment that bothers you, but you tell yourself it's not a big deal and you let it slide. The problem: every time you let something like that go, you're telling that person it's okay to treat you that way. You're allowing your dignity to be eroded. What we need to do is learn to be assertive. Assertiveness doesn't develop overnight, but it's a crucial skill for protecting your mental and emotional well-being. From now on, every time someone crosses that line, let them know you're not willing to tolerate it. And listen, it's not about being aggressive or creating unnecessary conflict, but about communicating your boundaries clearly and firmly. I don't agree with that. I'd prefer if you didn't speak to me like that. That's not appropriate, or simple yet powerful phrases. 2. Hypocrisy, the silent poison that erodes relationships. Now let's talk about another silent poison: hypocrisy. It's one of those things we often let slide, maybe because we've all been a little hypocritical at some point. But what we don't realize is how much damage we're doing to ourselves and our relationships when we allow hypocrisy to become normalized. Hypocrisy is essentially a disconnect between what someone says and what they do. And here's the problem: when you allow someone to be hypocritical with you, you're letting them manipulate you. It's like living in a parallel reality where what they say and what's actually happening are two completely different things. And living in that kind of reality can be exhausting. Imagine someone who constantly praises you in public but criticizes you or makes you feel less in private. That dissonance creates an internal tension that, over time, starts to erode your self-esteem and your perception of reality. It's a form of manipulation, and you shouldn't tolerate it. But why do we tolerate hypocrisy? Very simple: fear of conflict. We'd rather not say anything and avoid the confrontation because we think it will save us trouble. But the reality is that every time you allow hypocrisy, you're accumulating resentment, and that resentment becomes an emotional burden that will eventually take its toll on you. So how do you deal with hypocrisy? First, you need to be honest with yourself. Ask yourself, am I allowing someone to be hypocritical with me? Am I ignoring the obvious signs that what they're saying and what they're doing don't match up? Once you recognize this, it's time to act. Communicate clearly and directly how you feel. It's not about attacking, but about expressing how the other person's inconsistency in words and actions affects you. For example, I've noticed that what you're saying doesn't align with what you're doing, and that makes me uncomfortable. I'd prefer it if you were honest with me, even if it's not what I want to hear. This kind of conversation can be uncomfortable, but it's necessary to maintain healthy relationships. 3. Fear of failure, how to overcome it and reclaim your claim, your power. Let's move on to another crucial topic that no one wants to talk about, but we all experience: the fear of failure. That silent monster that paralyzes us and keeps us from pursuing our dreams. Fear of failure is one of the biggest obstacles to success, and if we don't confront it, it can dominate our lives. Have you ever found yourself avoiding something you really want to do because you're afraid it won't work out? Of course you have. We've all been there. Fear of failure can be so overwhelming that it convinces us it's better not to try at all. But you know what? That's the biggest trap of all. When we let fear of failure control us, we're essentially telling ourselves that we're not good enough, that we don't deserve success. But here's the truth: failure is not the end of the world. It's just an opportunity to learn and grow. Stoic philosophy has a lot to teach us about how to deal with failure. According to the Stoics, Failure is nothing more than a path that shows us what doesn't work. And what really matters is not whether we fail, but how we respond to that failure. Do we see it as the end of the road, or as an opportunity to explore new possibilities? One of the most important lessons we can learn is that there is no single path to success. If something doesn't work, it doesn't mean everything is lost. It just means it's time to try something different. Every failure is a lesson, and every lesson brings us one step closer to our goal. So the next time you feel fear of failure creeping in, remember that it's not about avoiding failure, but about learning how to handle it. Acknowledge the fear, but don't let it control you. Instead, use it as motivation to keep going, to explore new ideas, new strategies. 4. Control, freeing yourself from the chains of domination. Finally, let's talk about control. Have you ever felt like someone in your life is trying to control you? Whether it's a boss, a friend, or even a family member, control can be an insidious form of manipulation that robs you of your freedom and your ability to make decisions. People who try to control you do so because deep down, they are insecure. Their need for control has nothing to do with you, and everything to do with their own insecurities. But just because you understand this doesn't mean you have to accept it. When you allow someone to control you, you're giving away your personal power. You're saying that their wants and needs are more important than yours. But here's the secret: you don't have to accept this. Control can manifest in many ways, from small decisions, like what to eat or what to do in your free time, to bigger decisions, like where to live or what career to pursue. But every time you let someone else make those decisions for you, you're losing a little more of your independence. So how can you free yourself from control? First, you need to recognize that no one has the right to control your life. It doesn't matter who they are, you are the only one responsible for your decisions and your happiness. Second, you need to learn to say no. Saying no isn't selfish, it's protecting your well-being. An effective strategy is to set clear boundaries and communicate those boundaries firmly but respectfully. For example, if someone in your life is always trying to influence your decisions, you could say, "I appreciate your opinion, but I need to make this decision for myself." Or, if someone tries to control your time, you could say, "My time is valuable, and I need to use it in the way that best suits me." Remember, personal freedom is a fundamental right, and no one has the power to take it away from you unless you allow them to. If you feel like someone is trying to control you, it's time to take a stand. Reclaim your power, set your boundaries, and remember that your life is yours to live as you see fit. 5. Integrating stoicism into your daily life. So far, we've talked about several important things you shouldn't tolerate in your life, from disrespect to control. But how can you integrate these lessons into your daily life? This is where Stoic philosophy comes into play in a powerful way. Stoicism isn't just an ancient philosophy, it's a practical guide for living a full and meaningful life. The Stoics believed in the importance of self-discipline, self-control, and accepting what we cannot change. These teachings are incredibly relevant today, especially when facing disrespect, hypocrisy, fear of failure, and control. One of the first things you can do is practice daily reflection. Take a few minutes at the end of each day to reflect on the interactions you had. Were there moments when you allowed someone to disrespect you? Did you find yourself accepting hypocrisy or control without questioning it? Reflecting on these experiences will help you become more aware of your boundaries and take action to protect yourself in the future. Another powerful tool is Stoic meditation. Through meditation, you can strengthen your mind and develop the resilience needed to face life's challenges. You can practice negative visualization, a Stoic technique where you imagine adverse scenarios to mentally prepare yourself so that when they happen, they won't catch you off guard. Finally, don't underestimate the power of community. Surrounding yourself with people who share your values and support you on your journey toward a more authentic life is essential. The Stoics valued shared wisdom and believed that learning from others was fundamental to personal growth. I hope this video has given you a new perspective on the things you shouldn't tolerate in your life. Remember, you're not alone on this journey. We're all learning and growing together. So if you found this content helpful, give it a like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our upcoming reflections. See you in the next video.